Hello, Internet. Okay, so I've gotten so many requests to make a dress on this channel, and I thought I'd address your concerns. So I designed a couple dresses, I put it to Instagram to decide what I was going to make.
And this dress won in a landslide.
And then I saw that The Tudors was on Netflix, and I started watching it, and I just threw everything out the window, and now I'm gonna make that dress.
So I was originally going for a very historically accurate Tudor dress, but I didn't like the hanging sleeves off the elbow, and so eventually it turned into the sleeve of an Elizabethan dress, and it just became a jumble of different historical dresses, and so that's kind of where we're at with the dress.
So on my day off, I go to the coffee shop and get myself a mocha and a kolache. It's my treat myself day, along with all of the other days that I go and get a mocha and a kolache. And today's kolache, look at the size of this thing. Look at that Leviathan. Okay, so my plan was to originally go with this black fabric with these lovely roses and flowers that I could sew onto the bodice itself, which I thought was a really good idea. But then, I found this. Okay, so this is a bolt of fabric that is 8 yards long. I got it at Austin Creative Reuse, which is like the Goodwill of fabric stores. It's incredible. It's just all used fabric that you can get for like $2 or $3 for a piece. It's amazing. I shouldn't be touching my face this much because coronavirus or whatever. This bolt is large enough that I can take it as a lover. Ow! Oh! 8 yards is enough fabric to line Orson Welles' coffin. Almost. This was so heavy and I felt so awkward walking around the store with it. I took out a crafting family halfway through my visit just by swinging it. So everything else was out the window. Once I saw this, I knew I had to have it and make this dress. This was labeled as $16. That's 8 yards for $16 plus tax, which is less than $18. I paid less than $18 for this potential lover. It is so pretty and the light is looking really blue at the moment, but trust me, this is red and gold.
But it was always black and blue, like duh, like what are you talking about?
So I pulled up to the original location of Austin Creative Reuse, and I was disturbed to see that there was nothing there. I am not an emotional person, but I nearly cried. Come to find out, they have a brand new location that is only 2 weeks old. It is larger, and it is closer to my house. So I'm gonna call that a win-win. I love it. My friend and favorite drag king, Freddy Prinze Charming, also wanted me to make this dress out of blue and gold, because they also have an outfit made from blue and gold, and they wanted to be matchy-matchy at our wedding. But this deal was too good to pass up. Sorry, Freddy.
This is an important step. Take whatever is on your dress form and just throw it away. Oh, actually, that necklace was really, that was it. I'm moving too fast. Take the dress, and burn it, get away.
So I'm living my lumberjack hipster fantasy at the moment, which is fine, because my dad was a lumberjack, otherwise known as loggers, in the real world, not in that nonsense Canada wonderland. And now I am a vlogger. You're welcome, Dad. So behind me is what looks like a rug in the Trianon in Marie Antoinette's house. What it actually is 8 yards of fabric, which I just purchased. Is that too much? Is that too much fabric? Okay, much better. I honestly believe that if you don't have enough fabric to roll up a body, you're doing it wrong. Okay, so this is roughly 60 Tonka trucks long, which is probably what we want. I've rolled out a red carpet on the floor of my home.
So look, I know that red carpets are supposed to be, well, red, but if you don't have any gold in your carpet, then I can't look at you as someone who should be famous or have a lot of money.
Are you guys ready to make a dress? Because I'm not, and one of us should be. Oh my god, actually. Can we actually just take a moment though and revel at the glory of this? This is not bad.
And now, a word from Jodie.
Hi, I smell bad, but you can't tell. So I just wanted to go through really quickly how to make a draped pattern for your dress. Because I'm using a pre-existing pattern, I don't want you to go into this blind. So what I do is I take a piece of sacrificial fabric, or typically just a sheet, which is what I used here, and I just pin the sheet to the dress form and then draw out the basic form of the Red Lady. This is sized to me, but you can size it to yourself or anyone else you want as long as your dress form is big or small enough. I'll cut the piece out, I'll keep it pinned here, and then I'll move on to the next one. I'll keep doing the same thing all the way around until we have only one side of the dress form covered. Because here's the dealio. Because of this fun little thing called physics, we do not actually have to worry about doing the entire dress. Because once you've cut out this piece, you can then flip it over onto your fabric and do the same thing, and it will have a matching one on this side. It's actually more even that way, so just do it my way.
Okay, but what this idiot forgot to mention is that you can totally do it on yourself. You do not need a dress form. If you just put the fabric on yourself and pin it to a shirt, not to your skin, it should look fine. I'm using a pre-existing pattern that I'd already made, but I needed it to be shorter, and so what you'll see me doing is finding objects around the house to use to shorten it, because I could not find my measuring tape. I do not know what happened to it. I do not know what I did with it. What I found works best is using the lid of a compost box, but if you don't have a compost box, you can buy one and use it to measure out your pattern. Now what you see me doing here is once that was the sound of my boyfriend dropping his very expensive headphones. Once you cut out a piece that needs a twin, just flip it over and try and match it up to the brocade or whatever you're using as best you can. You want them to be even.
This is a very important part of the pattern. This is going to be where the back of the sleeve meets the side piece of the sleeve, so it's important to make this little mark here to show that the end of the backside piece meets up with this. I know that is confusing, I know that is a weird thing to say, but trust me, it will make sense when I show you. Maybe I might just be talking way over heads here, I don't know, but just do that for me. Okay, another thing that I forgot to mention that I think is quite muy importante is labeling the pieces. So I labeled the ends of the pieces, backside 1, backside 2, and then of course, side 1, side 2, back 1, back 2, back, words is hard. So this just keeps it organized so you know which one is which sides go together, so you're not confused and put like a 2 side on a 1 side and everything gets backwards. And before you know it, you've ruined the entire dress and it looks like you have 1 boob in the back, 1 boob in the front. My neighbors are making very scary noises and I don't know what's going on, but I see that one of my lamps has been... Hold on. Tipped over. Also, this thing is roughly the size of a quarter. We have Hodor-sized mosquitoes outside. I'm just kidding, I know what they are. They're mosquito hawks. But still, they have been outside my house for quite a long time, and I see many of them mating on my front porch. This is my front porch. I don't know what makes this such a romantic location for mosquito hunter breeding, but apparently this is just really what gets them going. Honestly, I think the internet is a scary enough place that someone will be able to find me from that one shot of my front door. And these are all my dress pieces, all laid out, all pretty. I have 1s over here and 2s over here. The 1s don't talk to the 2s, and the 2s don't talk to the 1s because of a civil war that went on between them. They're just too opposite to ever get along, you know what I mean? I don't know what kind of lining to use. I decided on this lining, except I'm worried that it's just a little bit thin for my giant potbelly drag queen body. I don't know what to do. The problem with this kind of fabric, though, is that it's very warpy, which gets very confusing when I'm trying to put all the pieces together, because a little bit of warp will make me look like I'm wearing the dress upside down. What I'm gonna do, I think, is a process that one of my favorite YouTubers, Makara Tours does. She cuts out all the pieces, and then before sewing the pieces, and good lord, stroking out is an easy thing to do. Before she sews all of the bodice pieces together, she sews the lining to it and then flips it inside out, and then just sews along the seam of the bodice. I'm gonna do something similar to that, but I'm not gonna go full Makara because I don't want to make this dress out of diapers.
She did that in a video. It was very good. It was stunning. Go watch it.
Harry Potter so far is just kind of like the happiest.
Oh. Damn it. Oh my god. As God is my witness, I'll never go hungry again. I know that this tidbit demonstrates a severe lack of understanding of that scene from Gone with the Wind, but it was the only quote I could think of at the time. Donde está el pincushion? I cannot find my pincushion. I seriously wish that this situation was more like an episode of Blue's Clues where you can shout out clues at me to where it is, but unfortunately by the time I edit this, I will already have found it. Disculpe, señor Perro. Disculpe. ¿Dónde está mi pincushion, señor? Hola, senor. Oh, hola, senor.
Okay, fair warning, in the next few clips I will be baby talking to a dog, so if you're averse to that, just keep in mind.
Oh, you are just made of cute. Yes, you are. You are just made of cute, huh? No, little go get it. Who's that? Come here. Have you seen my pincushion? Come here. Come on. Actually, fun story. This one, in her infancy, ate an entire pincushion. In her formative years, if you couldn't tell that she's eaten some weird stuff just by looking at it. Look at that face. Oh, look at that weird turkey face. Yeah, I never found the pins. Guess who picked the wrong time to play hide and seek?
So now it's time to cut out the lining. Now what I do is I take my lining fabric, I fold it over, and then I put the bodice piece down, pin it in place, and cut it out, and that way I have two opposite pieces of lining.
Okay, so I'm having a slight moment where I'm realizing that the dress might be a little hot, and I'm wondering if this is going to be too heavy, and it will stick to my body like saran wrap on other saran wrap. So I just don't know if I want to do that. Because Austin in the summer gets a butt hot. So I've decided I'm just going to go for it anyway because this is already going to be really hot. This is upholstery fabric. I'm Portuguese, I'm hairy, that's just the way of life for people like me. So I'm going to be sweaty and that's just something I'm going to have to reconcile with. Might as well double down.
It was at this time that my roommates brought people over, and I realized it looked like I disembodied a couch.
I know this looks weird. I know what's going on in here looks weird, and that's because it is weird.
It does not look weird. It looks like you're doing something productive right now, actually.
I'm leaving for Utah in a week, and I should pack, but I am wasting time doing this, but I like your attitude anyway. I've walled you off from your room, Weston. I hope that's alright.
I do need to get in there eventually.
That's unfortunate for all of us, isn't it? No, you can, I'm just kidding. I'll let you through today. Next time, I won't be so generous.
I decided to clean up, and so I did something my mom called the Great Migration, where I just moved the mess from one place to another so no one would notice. But I guess that's really just the definition of cleaning, so call me the next Marie Kondo.
What I'm gonna do... I need the front piece. This is dangerous. These are just filled with pins. This is a minefield. Ah! Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take the nice brocade side of the fabric and the nice silky side of the other stuff, and then you're gonna make them kiss. So I've pinned roughly an inch in because that is what I allowed for and nothing else.
Okay, I know I didn't explain this at all, but what you're going to do is take the face of the brocade that you're going to see when the dress is finished and the face of the lining that you're going to see when the dress is finished and put them against each other. That way, when you flip it inside out, you won't see the stitch or those no good, dirty, rotten, frayed parts.
Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to sew the pieces together how they are supposed to go. That is the best advice I can possibly give.
Wow, what a terrible way to put that, but what I meant to say was get the lining out of the way as much as possible and then sew up the pieces of the dress.
Okay, remember that advice I gave you about sewing pieces to the other proper pieces? That was good advice. I did not follow my own advice. I sewed the wrong piece and then we ended up... no, I sewed the right piece to the right piece but in the wrong place, and therefore we ended up with that. That is not what we want. Squares are bad.
Now I went back and re-sewed that seam right up because that is what I am told professionals do. Now once you're done with all the bodice pieces, flip it over and do the lining pieces in the exact same way.
Look at that seam. Dare I say this looks almost acceptable. I don't want to suggest that I am the Vivienne Westwood of my generation because Vivienne Westwood is already the Vivienne Westwood of my generation, but Dita Von Teese, if you ever need a dress for your next wedding, my services are available. So this is fun. The power has gone out in my house. As it turns out, electricity is a necessity for modern day sewing, and although I used to have a foot crank sewing machine, I do not anymore. I want to go explore the neighborhood and find out what happened, but I only have one sandal at the moment. There's also a very obnoxious beeping somewhere in the house, and I don't know what it's for, but it is currently the only thing that has power, and I'm a little afraid what it's supporting. So my roommate, who does not want to be on camera and threatened legal action against me, says that power won't be back on until 6 o'clock, and so until then, I am not sewing today. Well, like my mother always said, when life gives you lemons, it means you're probably a sailor and you won't get scurvy, so let's make the best out of a bad situation.
After an attack on our power supply, which I can only assume came from the Amish who were angry that we were using electricity in the first place, I continued to pin up the sides of my dress so they were ready to sew when the Amish overlords were overthrown.
This does not look too terrible. So this is all pinned together. I pinned everything. You relax. Okay, but look, this is a big lemon they've given us, haven't they? They have just thrust a lemon right down our throats. Personally, I don't like the taste of lemons. My boyfriend does. I don't. He will sometimes bite a lemon and then kiss me in my face with it. Shane. It's very cute. I like him. He's sweet. But here, okay, I'm gonna get on my knees. We're gonna pretend to be a child like actors did in the 40s. We're gonna get on our knees and we're gonna put our shoes right in front of us. Look at this tiny little child. So there we are. But everything does look even, at least. Everything looks nice. Yeah, I think we're gonna do good on this little baby.
Once the government decides to get its act together and fill up your house with sparky battery juice, I would recommend taking a break and going outside to watch your boyfriend turn a bowl.
This is my boyfriend Shane, much like Weston, my roommate. He did not want his image on the YouTubes. So we get his hands. Look at that spinny bowl. So because Shane's afraid of, oh god, yep, that's why he's afraid. Shane is afraid of using the lathe out here by himself. I don't blame him, I would be terrified, and so while he's out here, he wants me out here too, and I read. That's overexposed. I want to go to a terrarium.
You are a terrarium.
I feel like a terrarium most days, because you give me butterflies. Hence the fuck was that? Do you hear that? It was like a toddler swallowed one of those, the inner bits of a squeaky toy. Okay, you guys are gonna love this. Ready? Oh! High five right there. Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to take it in, like a lot. It is not at all as tight as I need it to be. Oh, I put the zipper on. I don't know if you can see. That is a dog.
Okay, so it was at this point that I got on a plane and ski-daddled all the way to Utah. Utah was real did pretty up there. It was full of mountains and red rocks and hoodoos and doo-doos and voodoos and all sorts of friendly Mormons sprouting up around every corner. This is my in real life boyfriend who we saw here, and look at that handsome guy standing there right on them there darn did hills there. Look at that little mountain boy. Then I ski-daddled back on that plane and ski-daddled to here. But in all seriousness, I owe a huge thank you to my boyfriend's family for inviting me on the trip and having me along, and it was amazing and wonderful, and it was so kind of you to do, and I don't know if you watch my videos or not, but if you do, this is for you. Thank you.
So I ironed the seams before I pinned it to fit me better, which I don't know why I did that. My recommendation is if you think that the garment is pretty close to where you want it, go ahead and pin the zipper on and sew it down. I mean, try it on, of course, before you commit. But here's what I've noticed. Don't ever try to use the zipper to fit the garment. What I mean by that is do not pull the fabric inward as you're putting on the zipper in order to cinch the waist. It always looks bad. It always squishes at the back and only looks good if you're bending over. And then what you can do is flip the garment inside out. And the seam under the armpit, go ahead and pin that and fit right there. That will work perfectly, I promise you. It works every time. Now, I've already sewn this, and I had to sew roughly about that much space. That much. So about a Cary Grant's eyeball width.
Calisthenics are an important part of any sewing project. Where there's even calisthenics, I don't know. I didn't go to school for PE.
Do the same thing on the lining, obviously. It can get a little tricky, but you're not stupid, you'll figure it out. I mean, obviously, if the dress is like 4 feet too wide for you, you've made a mistake. And no tailoring will get you to where you want to be. I mean, yes, a certain amount of tailoring, yes. But I mean, at that point, you're like, what is a good comparison? An analogy? Ooh, at that point, it's like pulling the couch cover off and wrapping it around yourself and saying, this doesn't fit. Also, yes, I painted both of these for my lovely boyfriend. I swear a man just flew by my window.
Yeah, I looked into it, and the mystery of the flying man past my window is still unsolved, so if someone could please call Unsolved Mysteries and have them get into contact with me.
I find it weird that my boyfriend requested naked people on his wall for Christmas. 2 years in a row. So you pin the zipper into the right place all the way down. But here's the issue. The lining is an absolute demon in all capacities. Lining is always, it's story time for non-sewers. For me, at least, I always use what can be compared to your grandmother's World War II couch type of fabric. Now, what that means is that they are full, sturdy bodices that can take on a cannon fire if they need to. I like my body to be cradled in silk. The soft gleam of a frictionless satin sends me into rapture. So for the lining, that's what I use. The problem is, this stuff is toilet paper. Built the walls of Helm's Deep, wiped the behinds of Helm's Deep. Okay, what I'm saying is that it's thin and it warps. So number one, cutting it is a nightmare. Because if it's not totally square, it will absolutely warp. I hate it. And that problem continues when you sew up the lining, and then you're just stuck. You're there. You have there's no recourse for what you can do. They're supposed to be twins and one looks deformed. But anyway, that is not the lesson I had for you at this moment. So what you're going to need to do, this is hard to demonstrate on the ground. A sneeze can rock my world. So here's the back panel. Here's the zipper that you have pinned onto it. Now what you need to do is pin the inner lining on the next seam over from the zipper, pin them all the way down, and then pull the lining tight against the edge where it meets the zipper.
Good job, me. That made sense.
The zipper will rarely get caught on the outside of when it zips up. Inside is another story. So once you have your fabric securely secured, pull it tight, roll it over, and pin it so that it is slightly underneath the zipper. On the outside, it should be pinned over the top of the zipper, so you should not even be able to see it. So you have about a muskrat's tail's width of disparity between the two.
At this point, I decided to shave my head. I don't know why I'm sharing this with you, but if it's your thing, you're welcome.
It's very important to moisturize after shaving your head, so just have your dog do it. Change of location again. So what I have here is an almost entirely finished bodice. I am fine. I do not have the corona. No, I just have allergies, which I got in Utah after getting off a plane. I did not clean this out at all before I started filming. So I really hope there's nothing incriminating in here. Body is up there, so I think we're fine. So essentially the final step to this is, I don't know why I flipped it inside out to do this, but you don't have to. So along each seam of the lining and the outer bodice, we're just going to pin it in place all the way down as evenly as possible and stretching the length as much as possible. We don't want any creases, we don't want any curves. We want them to line up pretty much perfectly because we're going to pin it at the very bottom. So we pin the bodice and the lining together, flipping them inside out. Hold on. So we flip them inside out, as you can hopefully see here, and then we just pin them together like that. Now typically people don't really care for seeing a giant orange threaded seam at the bottom of their bodice. For this dress, I think it's totally fine. You'll see why in a moment. I will honestly just stitch the top of this instead of ironing it often.
I say often, but I mean like all the time. I never iron, not once. The heat terrifies me. It's a giant hot plate in your hand that sometimes shoots steam. The fact that I ironed for this video is in and of itself a miracle.
You should feel thankful that I did it for this video, for you. Did I film myself ironing? Damn it. Alright, let's sew this up. So I'd forgotten that my boyfriend is working in the office because he's working from home. Also, fun story, I do not currently have a job. I am a house husband now. I've applied for unemployment for the first time in my life. Regardless of what political affiliation I might have now, I was raised as very conservative. And so the idea of taking money from the government kind of still makes me sick.
Because gall darn gosh darn it, I paid money into that. That is my money. So it makes sense that I would want to get it back.
I don't understand politics enough to know what I'm talking about. But either way, I know that I should be applying for jobs, which I am. I'm doing it, but it's slow and tedious, and I'm the kind of person who likes to go into a place of business and leave a resume. I don't do this whole online stuff, okay? I'm the type of guy, when people ask me if I have internet, I tell them that yes, I go fishing with my sister all the time, and she catches them in her net. My closet doesn't go any further back, but gosh darn dirtly done did it, I'm trying. I know you're expecting me to make an in the closet joke, but I will. What's deeper in the closet than me? Everything, because I'm not in the closet anymore. Okay, so while the camera was not on because of sheer embarrassment, I stitched the very top, and actually you can't see it on the camera, I don't think, but, or you can see it more on the camera actually, that orange blends in beautifully.
Now, my boyfriend hates finding threads on the floor, so it's important to clean up after yourself. I like to pick them up and then put them directly onto his pillow. That's perfect. As I'm editing this, I'm realizing that it is very quickly approaching the 30-minute mark, so this is my progress so far. I think it looks fine. I'm going to be back with a part 2 on this dress because, I mean, I have a lot of time in quarantine, so see you soon.